I use the community tab to get in touch with you guys and get some kind of one-on-one dialogue or some personal thing instead of just a comment board on a video. And I like to see what you're thinking. And the other day I asked you all to list a problem that you had, and I figured I'd get like, I don't know, 10, and I could address them at length, or maybe I would make a video on each one. But there was about 40 of them. So with that being said, this is going to be a pretty long video, and I'm going to take my time. I want to really go into all of them if I can and see what I can do about that. Maybe I'll make videos on them in depth for the ones I feel like need more information. But I wanted to kind of address these because I feel like it's important. I mean, if everybody's having problems and you guys are like my audience, my friends, everything, I want to see what I can do for you. That's the whole point of everything here, is to help and motivate and enlighten and change your perspective so you can live a better or more fulfilling life. So with that being said, let's get into it. First of all, that's my old intro, but it's back. I lost it, and that's why it wasn't there for a while. I just had this one card, but then I found it today when I was packing a bunch of stuff. It was on this thumb drive. So I updated it, and yeah, that's it. So it's back, and yep, deal with it. All right, so the first one is, can't grow a beard like yours. And I think that it's important to just look at something that, say, is beyond your control and recognize that there's nothing you can do about that, and there's nothing wrong with living without something. In fact, minimalism, if you use any part of that, you realize that not everything is that important, and even things that you think could be important usually aren't that. Like, I mean, a beard doesn't really do much for me anymore. It does like one or two things for me. That's why I keep it. But other than that, I could give a crap. I would love to let you have a beard that I have, just so that you could realize that it's not important. And it's like, if I'm looking at being taller, it's not really gonna do too much for me, really. I'm still gonna be me. I'm gonna be a little weird. I'd just be a little more confident, because it was something I had without for so long. But if I grew up tall, I wouldn't care. I'd just want to be taller or something like that. So yeah, the beard thing, man, like I'm not sure. I can't understand a lot of times what the fixation is on it, because honestly, it's a very, very marginal difference in my life. It's totally serious there. Being born with HIV, trying to date with disclosure laws, and people being afraid of me. Okay, so that's an interesting one. And here's the thing is, so maybe you have an insecurity about this and you think it's a negative. Let's just, by the tone of this, you think people are seeing it a certain way. However, I think that it comes down to maybe the way that you're addressing it around other people. It sounds, you didn't mention anything, I don't think you mentioned anything about how you feel about it. Yeah, you just talked about other people. It seems like you're fine with it, you understand it, and you're in control. So for me, it's kind of like, if I had anything like that, or whatever I have about me that closely relates, is it's not like you just dump a bunch of like problems and you're like on a first date and you're like, like I have problems with depression. Oh, did I tell you this, and I'm fucked up because of this, and you know, my parents are divorced, and so on. You don't unload all your negatives at first, but you also don't do that right before you hook up with them. Like, you kind of find the timing and you kind of get them involved. And I think it's important to inform people about this stuff. I think maybe if there was, say, if I were in the same situation, it's kind of like you got to warm up to people, because once they're your friend, they want to support you. And if they are dating you, then they just realize like, oh, like, okay, well, this is a good dude. Like, let's work with this situation, you know, kind of like if a girl has daddy issues, like I'm going to be like, fuck. All right, well, let's see how crazy this this woman is. But like, yeah, it's just kind of something that shouldn't be necessarily thrown on right away or too late. It should have a kind of a game plan. So that's kind of how I would approach it. Not an easy situation. I'm not dumbing that down at all. I wouldn't know for sure how to deal, but that's kind of where I would start. Having the own country destroyed by the own government. Doesn't say here where this person's from or what they mean. I'd love to address it, but it's really important when you put comments anywhere to put all the information in. If you want somebody to answer something or get back to you, I want to use this as an example because there's nothing I can answer about this. There's absolutely no information. And in fact, it seems like an opinion, if anything. Whenever you put an opinion or any kind of question online, you should always put all the information that you can for the person that you're saying it to. I can't keep fighting this depression day after day. Well, actually you can. That's the thing. And people do all the time. And the thing is, it's kind of, think about it as like alarm bells. And that depression is saying something is off and you have to fix it. And the day after day after day means you're not addressing some issue. It's an underlying issue. Maybe you're spending too much time on TV, YouTube, and social media to recognize whatever it is the problem is. Like, if I get super, super depressed, I have to cut off the world and all my weird addictions to foods or social media and all that so that I can figure out what is actually upsetting me. In fact, it happened the other week, or maybe was it this week? I just was in bed for about 20 hours or so. And I was like, oh man, okay, I guess I got to do this. I really want to do this. I get excited about something and that depression goes away. But treat depression like alarm bells and you should be pretty good. I can't get a job and I'm very depressed because of that. So I'm a firm believer is if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right type of mentality. Maybe you're giving too much power to the fact that other people could hire you. Maybe you could do what I'm doing, because I'm also not working right now, which is create your own job and create your own thing. And this might be an alarm call for you and a wake up like bell for you to figure out your own thing. So something like that. YouTube is pretty much taking up half or all of my day, 10 hours plus screen time. You know, I get it. I've had stints where I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I'm just in a very consuming thing. I'm just looking for something. And if you're recognizing that you're actually looking for something, and maybe you're not just consuming, but you're trying to figure out something, you may have already passed it, but you're just too busy. It's like eating too fast. Like you're not actually enjoying things. So maybe if you pace it out and like block off things, like make a playlist, watch the 5 videos or whatever, and then go do something else, go for a walk, process the information. Kind of as if you were to take a book and you highlight it and take a note of rewriting it. Like you have to work through the stuff. You probably have found it, because I know that if you're watching YouTube like I am, you kind of watch the same thing over and over again. Like if I'm researching a camera, I'll watch like every video. Like seriously, I'll watch every video on that camera. But it's all the same information because it's the same camera. I cannot trust boys after toxic relationships, and of course I cannot consider a new relationship almost 2 years single and counting. I feel you. I think trust is not about them, it's about you. It's really important. I have trust issues myself, and I think it's been about 2 years for a real relationship. I've been dating and stuff, but it's been a while. And I think that it's important to realize that the relationship is 2 ways. And the stronger your end and the stronger you can trust yourself and the better person you are, you can kind of start to carry the weight of somebody who's flawed in that area. And if you can figure out a way to really, really get really good at trusting yourself, say trusting yourself to run an errand, trust yourself to eat right, things like that, you'll find like-minded people that you can trust, if that makes sense. I cannot stop procrastinating stuff I have to do. Yeah, so that's the thing is like it goes back to kind of what I was saying with the videos. You have to figure out what you're procrastinating with and process that thing. So even if it's video games, just take a certain amount of time for that video games, block it out, schedule it so that you're scheduling your procrastination, and it will start to kind of open up the motivation towards the things that you're supposed to do. So if I really just want to watch YouTube all morning and mess around on social media, I'll be like, okay, fine, I'll do that till noon. Some crazy amount. Like that's like 3 or 4 hours or whatever. And then after that, I have to go do this and just make it a must. It's absolutely imperative that you have to do this. So that's kind of what I do. I don't know if that helps, but my procrastination, I just block it in. Encouraging others, family, and friends to adopt better habits and lifestyle. I truly consider this channel as a huge motivation since first I came for beer tips and found self-growth content. How do you embrace what you have and furthermore inspire people? Great job you've done here, Jeff. Greetings from Mexico. Thank you very much. I appreciate all the kind words. It's really awesome. I guess I'll just kind of harp on this part saying, how do I embrace what I have and inspire people? Really, it just comes down to minimalism. You figure out what you can get away without, for me, and then you're like, oh man, yeah. And then when you get rid of too much, you find out what you do want if you didn't know that it was working before. And something along those lines of just kind of, how do I say? Just embrace minimalism, I guess. I'm in a 10 years relationship, but I'm not sure if we should continue together or not. My instinct and my mind are telling me no, but my heart is in the way. Another one is depression, very constant depression, wondering why I'm alive. Well, both are pointing to the fact that you're unhappy. And, you sound like you already know, your gut's telling you what's making you unhappy. If you can't fix something and make it something that makes you happy, then you want to discard it or move away from it. It's kind of obvious. Reading this out loud, maybe just reading it back to you, it would have sounded as clear to me what I think without saying it. So I'm working a job I truly hate, though it pays well and maintains my family. At 23 years old, my first child around the corner, I'm motivated more than ever than to do what I love and to serve as a proper role model. The problem is I started many career paths, never finished any. I feel like I haven't found my true calling, and it's scary. I want to be able to provide for everything for my family, doing what truly makes me happy, and so on, so on. I have to do these in screenshots, so I missed the rest. But basically, I feel you. I know the same thing, and it's just a matter of just keeping at it. Just keep at it. Just figure it out. Just figure out the next move. Figure out what you like. The thing with finding out what you like is when you see people that inspire you, it's important for me, what's helped is to not look at them and see what I want to do like them. It's what do I like about how they do it, and then how can I do something the same way. Also, one more thing important with changing careers and all that stuff and whatever, I think it's more important to think about the life you want to live than the job you want to have. Like, a job will give you a lifestyle just by taking it on. Here in New York, living in New York to do motion graphics gave me a certain life versus if I was a farmer. And I'm not looking at each job being a better job or worse job. It's just there's a lifestyle. And I chose, I want to live like this. And that's why I went with this one in particular, or a huge part of it at least. Depression over my mistakes and hating life. Just keep at it. Just keep going. All that stuff will be fixed tomorrow. And you just have to kind of plan for tomorrow as much as you can today and figure out what it is that's making you depressed and, solve that. Just make sure you're not taking in too much distractions. All right, so the microphone died, so I'm going to try to get back on track. I lost where I was. I don't know where that place was. And it's sweating, and all my batteries are running low. So I get too many girls when I go out. I know it's a problem. Finding stability in this economic climate if you have no savings and no one to help you. Yeah, well, here's the thing is that's kind of where everybody is. I think it's important to keep in mind that you're not just the only one that's like that. There are some people that are comfortable and, took care of their stuff early, but I feel like the majority of people are pretty screwed right now. So keep that in mind and realize that because of that, a lot of people are willing to help others, especially strangers and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, we're all in this together. So I've let go of baggage, forgiven people, and I have financial issues. I rely on savings. I was not happy regarding my career. You've helped me realize that what my real passion is, since it obviously wasn't finance. That's crazy. That's awesome. I am planning on selling my first home, pay off whatever debt I have, and move to San Antonio, Texas. I'm planning on opening a second family small business in Antonio. Again, I screenshot this, so I don't know if there was a question in there, but super happy to inspire in any way. Yeah, I wish that I could open this, but see, the thing with phones or iPads or all that, you can't see the community tab. You just see like individual things scattered throughout all your notifications. So yeah, sorry. My job isn't feel right for me, and I'm both bored and unproductive at work. The anxiety of being unproductive and making me second guess my skills, work ethic, path forward. I'm young and I've got an engineering degree, so I'm in a good position to make changes, but I have no idea how to take my career from a more suitable direction. I think it's really important to think about what you think about and mark that down and how much you might be thinking about something, and then what you're doing when you're procrastinating. And those two things usually are indicators of what direction you want to go in. So if you're, say, thinking about how to fix like better engineered kitchen utensils and you love cooking and you're getting, what are you getting mad at? Are you getting mad at kitchen stuff or are you getting mad at cars? Like that kind of thing you want to pay attention and mark down, and that's going to give you a good indicator of where you should go, what direction. I have poor vision, but I love to see beautiful things. Me too. That's why I wear contacts. I had glasses before because they're cheaper. In fact, a lot of insurance, you can get free pair of glasses if you feel like it. So there should be no excuse. Depression in all its glory is a problem. It's also very common nowadays, and I think it is more common so now with digital media. I think as soon as you start getting rid of that and you get back to nature and go into the woods and go for a walk, all that stuff, the depression starts to go away because you're not distracted and you're not consuming, you're just processing. I'll say it over and over and over and over again until it hits home. You gotta stop using so much social media, so much digital, any kind of media, movies, anything. You just gotta cut back. And food too. Stop consuming so much. That's where the depression comes from, originally. It's what fuels it. Let's say that. That's a better way to put it. Transition from a 9-to-5 to freelance, full-time as a creator, composer, content creator. The transition's just going to take a while. That doesn't mean it's better, worse, harder, whatever. It's just you're going to have to work kind of all day and get paid less for a while. But it's up to you. It's the only way to live, I think. Once you see how living for yourself and doing basically whatever you want and being freelance is kind of the only way to live, you'll never be able to look back and you'll be like, yeah, every second of doing work for myself is a way better way of living, a better, more future-proof way of living too. Addiction. Addiction is something that I feel is curable. I don't feel like it's as big of a problem. I think you have to want it. I think as soon as you harp down on it and you keep focusing on it for long enough that it becomes a habit, not this like 60 days thing. I'm saying like harp down onto whatever it is that's the addiction for like 2 years. Make it part of your identity, that you're quitting it or you're leaving it or replacing it actually is better identity. And by the time you become that, that's when it's gone. Okay, final page. We're getting through this. Wow. Okay, in the process of breaking up with an alcoholic, alcohol is probably one of the worst things that I think it's for anybody's life or for the people around it. Um, Therapists say this constantly. Alcohol is one of the worst possible things you can have in your life. It should be illegal. Absolutely. I think it's a horrible thing. Can't find those shorts that you talked about. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't make them anymore. It sucks. I'm wearing them right now, though. They're awesome. But the thing is, I just want to talk about things like the drawstring or how they fit in the small pockets, all that, so that you could hunt around and you go, oh, this is kind of what he's talking about. Yeah, that is better. That makes sense that the pockets are smaller because the length is smaller. Like, I have a fear of success, self-sabotage on a lot of projects, including my YouTube channel, the way of counterproductive behaviors that I'm well aware aren't in my best interest. Me too. And in fact, I'm so much the same, I don't know how to fix it as well. So I'm in the same boat. I don't know how to fix that problem. I would say you could be doing what I'm doing, which is looking for help and getting courses and buying education on how to get past that and do better. Self-sabotage is, I believe, roots into the victim mentality. And if you look into the psychology of it, of I'm the person that needs that attention when I destroy something, like, oh, why did you do that? Or being the bad person. If you had a sibling that was a good person, it harps into identity in psychology and a lot of things that I've seen. So recognizing that you're just being a brat as an identity and the victim or the bad boy type of thing, like not in the good way, like the negative one that's depressing, you might want to change that. And the way you change that is seeing how the good people and the positive, non-self-sabotaging people act. And that's kind of what I'm doing. Is I'm seeing how they do it, and I'm paying so that they teach me. So I feel lonely all the time. So I don't see lonely. To me, it happens in a fleeting moments. Usually too, it's like if I'm drinking or something, I'll feel lonely. So I try to not drink or something like that. I try not to do the things that make me feel lonely. I love being alone. So it's hard for me to relate on that problem. But when I did or do feel lonely, I just try not to do that thing that makes me feel lonely. Why have a stagnant life, not have a high achievement? Because you're probably procrastinating or consuming too much of something, usually. I mean, if you were to do and be doing things, you would be achieving more. It's just numbers. Math, numbers don't lie. So, too much alcohol. Yep. As I said before, it's one of the worst things you could possibly have in your life. Get rid of it as soon as possible. Take it out. Not getting a job. Yep, me too. Got to figure out a way to make your own income. That's what I recommend. I mean, this economy is not going to get better for a little bit. It's going to be probably getting worse, and then you'll be trying to fight to survive. And instead of that, you might as well figure out what you can sell, what you can make, whatever. Having been reliant on dairy protein as a vegetable lover, I've been diagnosed with lactose intolerant. I've tried following a vegan diet, but it's hard to do that where I live. But neither do I want to go back to eating meat and so on. It's a problem at the moment. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I think dietary things are difficult to switch, but also kind of like, yeah, I mean, if you have to, you have to. I wasn't feeling well when I ate meat, so I stopped eating meat. Not that because I didn't like meat, is because it just wasn't working for my body. And then I was feeling kind of weak and I wasn't growing protein and so on like that, or I was getting enough protein. I started adding meat again, and then I felt sick, so I changed it. So it's an evolving thing. I just do whatever I have to do the best I can because it's difficult. No career, depressing, jumping from one low-paying job to another. I think that goes back to what I always advise is people take responsibility for what they're doing in life and try to figure out a way to make your own living. You have to be making your own living. That's the way of the future. There's an internet. I'm working on it too. I don't really know how to either. I'm trying to learn about it. I'll look into marketing, online marketing, creation. There's a job for everybody. I don't think that many people will be working for many other people in the not too distant future. It's just my belief that online is the future. So if you're not thinking that as a reality, you're going to fall behind and constantly be working for others, having them determine your pay. So yeah, that's all the questions that I saw. There's a lot of them. I was hoping to get into them a little bit more deeper, but I had to rush because my batteries on my equipment's dying. So I'm going to edit this, and I'll try to get it up in the middle of the night, probably. It's like 6 hours. It'll probably take me a while to edit this. My problem right now is creating content that I think is worth talking about and worth sharing. And I've been experimenting, as you've been seeing, a lot of weird videos. But I am finding out that I think that what I am not doing is talking about things necessarily that I would talk about, say, if I had a stage. Even though this is a stage, it's a digital stage, I think it's important to talk about things that are as important as I possibly can and do really good videos. And then the extra things like minimalist wallets or whatever shirts I buy and those things, if they're not integrated into the speech that I would give, then those are going to have to go to the wayside till I kind of get a pattern. But I'm pretty excited about these tests and these experiments. A lot of people, it's so frustrating to me when I ask you guys, hey, what do you like? What is this? Like, tell me what you think of this. It's not an insecurity. I hate it how people think like, oh, just do what you want, whatever. No, like, I'm trying to figure out what you guys want. It drives me absolutely insane because I'm asking you questions. I want to hear actually like what you have to say. I don't want encouragement, and I don't want to be fanned that I'm doing good. I'm literally asking questions to understand you guys better. And it's kind of frustrating because I still don't really get good information. The only feedback I'm getting is like 1 or 2 people that will list some great ideas that they like, or a friend in person. And that's my problem right now, personally, is how do I get to hear from you guys what you actually like and what you want without you thinking that it's like some weird insecurity? Like, I just want to know what kind of things do you like? Do you like clothing stuff? Do you like life hacks, like self-improvement? Do you want just random chit chat like this stuff? Like, I honestly don't know because the community tab isn't super helpful. Voting, it doesn't line up with like the analytics. So analytics say one thing, but it's such a mess. YouTube is very, very difficult. So what I want to hear from you, hopefully, is help me with my problem, which is let me know what stuff you love that I do. I have a lot of different skills, and I just want to figure out what's the most valuable thing to give you, and then I can get really excited about it, because I get excited about helping people. I get excited about sharing something that I know and I've learned, and since have so many tidbits of little information things, I don't know where to start. And sometimes I'll talk about something stupid like soap, which I really, really love that soap, but the audience, it kind of falls on deaf ears because you're not seeing soap as a sorry, everything's such a mess, but it's a lifestyle element to live a better life. And it's like, I find that soap to be really enjoyable, and it's masculine, and it's minimal, and it's sustainable. It's super awesome. If you haven't seen that video, check that out. Anyways, I'm ranting here. I hope that this video helped you in some way, somehow. If it did, also let me know. Anything, just put some words in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you think, just in general, because I get excited when you guys get excited. And lately, I haven't been super excited. I've just been spinning my wheels in my brain because I don't even know where to start anymore. I'm just like, I don't know what you guys want to see. because I could talk about 10,000 different things. And I'm just looking for some guidance. I just want to hear what kind of questions, what kind of things do you want to know about? So that's it. My equipment's all dying. Peace.